Ladies and gentlemen, as you get older, life teaches you a truth that no book can ever fully explain. Peace is priceless. You realize that the best investment you can make in your old age is not in wealth, not in property, not in people who drain you. It's in yourself. There comes a time when you've done enough for everyone else. You've carried others' burdens. You've sacrificed your time and energy. And now it's time to reclaim your own soul. Prioritizing peace over pleasing others is one of the most powerful lessons that life teaches you with time. When you are young, you want to make everyone happy. Your family, your friends, your co-workers, even people who don't truly care about you. You stretch yourself thin trying to keep up with expectations, constantly explaining yourself, apologizing for being who you are, and sacrificing your peace just to earn someone's approval. But as you grow older, you begin to see how much energy you wasted trying to please people who were never satisfied in the first place. In your old age, you reach a point where peace becomes more valuable than popularity. You stop chasing validation because you finally understand that no one's opinion can give you the peace that comes from self-acceptance. Peace means waking up in the morning without anxiety, without guilt, without drama. It means sitting with yourself and feeling calm in your heart. It means no longer allowing people to pull you into their storms because you've worked too hard to find your calm. You learn that you don't need to explain every decision or defend every choice. The people who truly love you will understand your silence, and the ones who don't, well, they were never meant to stay. When you prioritize peace, you stop living by other people's opinions and start living by your own truth. You realize that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your time, and not everyone deserves to know your story. You learn to set boundaries, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. In the past, you may have thought that saying no was selfish, but with wisdom you discover that no is a form of self-care. It's protecting your energy from people who take but never give. It's saying I love myself enough not to let anyone disturb my peace. You start choosing silence over arguments, solitude over chaos, and calmness over drama. Because peace is not something you find, it's something you create. It's a decision you make every day to distance yourself from what steals your joy. You stop attending every argument you're invited to. You no longer feel the need to correct people's misunderstandings about you. You let them think what they want because their opinions don't pay your bills, don't heal your heart, and don't build your spirit. You learn that sometimes walking away is the best form of wisdom. And when you do, you find a stillness that feels like freedom. In old age, peace becomes your currency. You value time spent in quiet reflection, in laughter with those who matter, in moments of gratitude to remind you how far you've come. You stop comparing your journey to others because peace comes from contentment, not competition. You no longer feel pressure to prove yourself. Your life itself becomes the proof of your resilience. You've been through enough to know that nothing is worth losing your peace. Not money, not relationships, not recognition. You start to live intentionally. You speak only when it adds value. You give love freely but without expectation. You understand that peace is not about avoiding problems. It's about handling them without losing your balance. You stop holding grudges because forgiveness brings peace too. You stop revisiting past pain because healing brings peace too. And you stop worrying about the future because fate brings peace too. The older you get, the more you realize that peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You cannot live a meaningful life without it. And when you finally make peace your priority, everything else begins to fall into place. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your soul finally feels at home within you. Because when you choose peace over pleasing others, you choose yourself. And that's the most powerful choice of all. Silence is power and protection. When you are young, You often feel the need to respond to everything and everyone. You argue to defend yourself. You explain to be understood, and you speak just to fill the space. But with time and experience, you learn that silence is not emptiness, it's strength. It's the calm that comes when you no longer need to prove anything. The older you get, the more you realize that not everything deserves a reaction. Not every comment needs a response, and not every situation requires your voice. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words ever could. It tells people that your peace is not up for discussion, that your time is too valuable to waste on meaningless conversations, and that you've outgrown the need to argue with anyone who doesn't understand your worth. Silence protects your energy. It allows you to observe before reacting, to think before speaking, and to choose your battles wisely. There's wisdom in holding your tongue, especially when others expect you to lose control. When you remain silent in the face of chaos, you're not being weak, you're showing mastery. It takes strength to walk away when you could have fought back, to smile when you could have shouted, to let go when you could have argued. Silence is the weapon of those who have learned self-control. It keeps your dignity intact and your spirit unshaken, because once you understand that your peace is worth more than being right, you stop needing to have the last word. As you grow older, you start seeing how much noise surrounds you. The world is full of opinions, judgments, and constant chatter. Everyone wants to be heard, but very few people want to listen. In that noise, silence becomes sacred. It becomes a space where you can hear your own thoughts clearly. When you choose silence, you make room for clarity. You begin to hear your intuition guiding you, your heart whispering what truly matters, and your spirit reminding you who you are. That inner voice only grows stronger in the quiet. The more you sit in silence, the more you understand that peace doesn't come from outside approval. It comes from inner alignment. Silence also protects you from unnecessary conflict. Not everything needs to be addressed. Some things are better left unsaid, because the moment you speak, you give energy to things that don't deserve it. Silence allows foolishness to expose itself. It reveals who people are without you having to say a word. Those who misunderstand your silence will think you're avoiding confrontation, but in reality, you're choosing elevation. You're choosing to rise above noise that doesn't serve your spirit. There's a certain power that comes with being silent in a loud world. People start to notice your calm. They start wondering what gives you such control. They can't provoke you because you've mastered yourself. That kind of control only comes with wisdom and age. You no longer need validation from others. Your peace is proof enough. You've realized that silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about your energy to waste it. In old age, silence becomes your peacekeeper. It gives you the space to breathe, to reflect, to appreciate how far you've come. You find comfort in stillness, in the soft rhythm of life when there's no need to rush, no need to explain, no need to impress. You choose silence because it's peaceful, and peace has become your priority. The greatest freedom is not saying everything you think, but thinking everything you want without the need to say it. That's real maturity. That's real power. Silence allows your soul to rest, your mind to settle, and your heart to stay calm in a world that never stops talking. In silence, you finally find strength that no one can take from you. The power to be at peace no matter what's happening around you. Letting go of unnecessary drama and arguments is one of the greatest freedoms you can ever give yourself. When you're young, you often think that every disagreement deserves your attention, and every negative comment deserves a reply. You spend time trying to explain, defend, and prove yourself to people who are determined not to understand you. But as you grow older, you begin to see that most of that drama was never about you in the first place. It's about other people's insecurities, their egos, and their lack of peace. The moment you stop engaging in unnecessary drama, your life becomes lighter. You realize how much emotional weight you've been carrying because you couldn't let go of what wasn't worth your time. In your old age, you reach a stage where you choose calmness over chaos, silence over shouting, and peace over proving a point. The truth is, drama is like poison to the soul. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and distracts you from the things that truly matter. When you allow yourself to get pulled into unnecessary arguments, you lose control of your emotions and give power to people who don't deserve it. But when you choose to walk away, you regain that power. You learn that peace is not found in winning every argument. It's found in knowing which arguments aren't even worth having. You begin to understand that sometimes silence is not agreement, it's maturity. Sometimes walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. You learn that you don't need to prove your point to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. As you age, your perspective shifts. You no longer crave being right, you crave being at peace. You realize that not everyone deserves your reaction. Some people just want to argue because chaos feeds them. They want to see you angry. They want to drain your spirit. They want to pull you down to their level. But when you've lived long enough, you learn that reacting gives them exactly what they want. So instead, you stay calm. You smile. You stay silent. You move on. You stop feeding drama with your attention, and soon enough, it dies out on its own. The best response to nonsense is no response at all. Letting go of drama also means letting go of pride. You learn that being at peace is more important than being right. You stop needing the last word because you understand that silence often says more. You start focusing on solutions rather than problems, on growth rather than grudges. You stop holding on to bitterness because you realize that resentment only keeps you tied to the very people who hurt you. Letting go frees your spirit. It gives you space to heal, to breathe, and to move forward. In old age, you become selective with your energy. You guard it carefully because you know how precious it is. You don't entertain gossip, you don't chase arguments, and you don't involve yourself in other people's conflicts. You've learned that peace is more rewarding than attention. You'd rather sit quietly in your garden, take a walk, or spend time with people who make you laugh than waste another minute arguing over something that won't matter tomorrow. The older you get, the more you appreciate quiet living. You stop being impressed by drama, noise, and conflict. You crave peace, stillness, and understanding. You know that real strength lies in your ability to stay calm when the world around you is loud. Letting go of unnecessary drama doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply about protecting your peace. You no longer fight battles that don't serve your spirit. You pick your peace every single time. And when you do, life becomes softer, calmer, and more beautiful, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally stopped giving energy to what doesn't deserve it. Focusing on health, happiness, and spiritual growth becomes the most important mission as you age. When you are young, you often take your body and mind for granted. You run through life chasing success, money, recognition, and approval, forgetting that none of those things matter if you lose your health and peace in the process. But as the years pass, you start to understand that your body is your home, your mind is your temple, and your spirit is your true guide. You can't enjoy anything in life without balance among the three. In your old age, it's no longer about how much you have, it's about how well you live. You learn that peace of mind, good health, and a happy spirit are the real signs of wealth. Taking care of your health becomes more than just eating right or exercising. It becomes an act of gratitude. You start listening to your body more closely. You rest when you're tired. You nourish yourself with good food, and you avoid stress because you know it affects your soul as much as your body. You stop pushing yourself to exhaustion for people or situations that don't matter. You realize that protecting your health is not selfish, it's essential. You understand that without your physical strength, you can't enjoy the blessings that life still has to offer. So you start making choices that nurture your body instead of breaking it. You slow down. You breathe deeply. You walk more. And you spend time in nature. Every day becomes an opportunity to thank your body for carrying you through everything life has put you through. Happiness also takes on a new meaning. When you were younger, you probably believe happiness came from success, relationships, or achievement. But as you grow older, you see that true happiness is not in things, it's in moments. It's in a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, in a laugh shared with an old friend, in watching the sunset without worrying about tomorrow. Happiness comes from acceptance, accepting who you are, where you are, what you have. You stop comparing your life to others because you've learned that comparison kills joy. You focus on gratitude instead. Every breath, every smile, every simple blessing becomes something to be thankful for. You realize that happiness was never missing from your life. It was hidden beneath the noise of your worries. When you finally slow down, you find it waiting for you. And then there's spiritual growth, the part of life that often gets ignored until you reach a certain level of wisdom. As you age, you start to see that your spirit needs as much care as your body and mind. You become more reflective, more peaceful, more forgiving. You let go of grudges because you realize they only poison your heart. You begin to understand that everything in life happens for a reason, even the pain, even the losses. You stop asking why me and start saying, thank you for the lesson. Your faith grows stronger because you've seen life test you, break you, and rebuild you. You start trusting God's timing instead of forcing your own. You no longer see control, you see connection. You find peace in prayer and meditation, or even in quiet moments of gratitude. Focusing on your health, happiness, and spiritual growth brings balance to your old age. It makes you realize that you don't need to chase life anymore. You just need to live it fully. You learn that taking care of yourself is not about vanity or pride. It's about respect for the life you've been given. Every day becomes sacred, every breath becomes a blessing, and every moment becomes a chance to grow, heal, and love yourself a little more. Because when your body is at peace, your mind is calm, and your spirit is light, you discover a joy that no wealth, no fame, and no validation can ever replace. That is the true beauty of growing older. Finding wholeness within yourself. Valuing your time and energy like treasure is one of the wisest lessons life teaches you as you grow older. When you're young, time feels endless and energy feels infinite. You give it away freely to people, jobs, situations, and worries that don't deserve it. You spend hours trying to fix things that are already broken, trying to convince people who never listen, and chasing goals that don't bring you peace. But with age comes wisdom, and with wisdom comes clarity. You begin to see that your time and energy are not renewable. Once they're gone forever. So you start treating them like gold, valuable, limited, and worthy of careful protection. In your old age, you start realizing that not everyone deserves access to your time. Some people are only around to take, to drain, to use your kindness without giving anything in return. You spent enough years trying to be available for everyone, and now you understand that it's okay to say no. You no longer apologize for protecting your space, your peace, or your schedule. You know that your time is your most valuable possession, and you choose to spend it with intention. You invested in things and people that bring you joy, growth, and calmness. You no longer waste it on those who bring confusion, negativity, or drama into your life. The same goes for your energy. You've learned how heavy it feels to pour yourself into things that don't pour back into you. You recognize when something is draining your spirit, whether it's a toxic relationship, a stressful situation, or even your own overthinking. You start becoming more selective about where your energy goes because you know that peace of mind is priceless. You give yourself permission to rest without guilt. You allow yourself to step back, to recharge, and to say no to anything that doesn't align with your well-being, because when you protect your energy, you protect your health, your happiness, and your peace. Time teaches you that not everything deserves a reaction, and not everyone deserves an explanation. You stop rushing, stop overcommitting, and stop trying to be everywhere for everyone. You move slower, but with more purpose. You spend your time doing things that make your heart full, spending moments with loved ones, doing what brings you joy, or simply sitting in silence appreciating life. You begin to notice the beauty in simplicity. The older you get, the more you realize that true richness isn't measured in money or possessions. It's measured in how you spend your time and who you spend it with. You start to see your days as gifts, not guarantees. You wake up grateful for another sunrise, another chance to breathe, to smile, to feel. You stop living for the weekend and start living for the moment. You make peace with the fact that you can't do everything and be everywhere, and that's perfectly fine. You've earned the right to rest, to slow down, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You spent decades giving your time and energy to the world. Now it's time to give them to yourself. Valuing your time and energy also means letting go of things that no longer serve your growth. You don't chase after people who walk away. You don't force conversations that drain your spirit, and you don't entertain negativity. You let things flow naturally because you trust that what's meant for you will stay. You live each day knowing that your time is precious, your energy is sacred, and your peace is priceless. And when you finally live that way, when you protect your time and energy like the treasures they are, life becomes simpler, calmer, and far more meaningful. You realize that peace doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what truly matters. And in your old age, that's exactly what you choose to do. It's joy in solitude, gratitude, and self-respect becomes the foundation of peace and fulfillment in your old age. As you grow older, you begin to understand that being alone is not the same as being lonely. In fact, solitude becomes one of the most beautiful parts of life. It gives you time to think, to heal, and to connect with yourself on a deeper level. When you were younger, silence might have felt uncomfortable. You always needed noise, people, or distractions to feel alive. But now, solitude feels like freedom. You no longer fear being by yourself because you've learned to enjoy your own company. You can sit quietly, reflect on your life, and feel grateful for everything you've experienced, the good and the bad. You realize that peace doesn't come from others, it comes from within. In your solitudes, you find clarity. You start understanding things you once rushed past. You see how far you've come, how strong you've become, and how much wisdom you've gained. You don't need constant validation from others anymore. You find satisfaction in the quiet moments, a morning cup of tea, a walk under the sun, the laughter of grandchildren, or the sound of the wind outside your window. Those simple things begin to mean everything. You start appreciating what you used to overlook. You understand that peace isn't in having more, but in needing less. Solitude teaches you to love the calm, to appreciate your thoughts, and to find joy in simplicity. Then comes gratitude, the key that opens the door to true contentment. Gratitude changes how you see everything. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. In old age, you begin to count your blessings more than your burdens. You stop asking, why me, and start saying, thank you. You thank God for the years you've lived, for the lessons learned, for the moments that shaped you. You look back and realize that every struggle had a purpose. Every delay had a reason, and every loss taught you something you needed to know. Gratitude turns even ordinary days into miracles. It gives you peace in your heart because it reminds you that you have enough, that you are enough, and that life, with all its ups and downs, has still been a gift. Gratitude also softens you. It removes bitterness and replaces it with peace. You stop resenting what you didn't get and start appreciating what you have. You forgive easier. You smile more. And you carry a quiet joy wherever you go. Gratitude teaches you that happiness doesn't come from having everything perfect. It comes from accepting and loving what is. You no longer waste your time complaining or wishing life were different. You focus instead on the beauty of what's already around you. And then there's self-respect, the final pillar of true peace. You've lived long enough to know your worth. You no longer tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or negativity. You respect yourself too much to allow anyone to disturb your peace. You've learned that you teach people how to treat you by what you accept. So you set boundaries, not out of pride, but out of love for yourself. You honor your feelings, you protect your energy, and you make decisions that align with your peace. Self-respect isn't arrogance. It's understanding that you've given enough of yourself to the world. Now it's time to give love and respect back to yourself. When solitude, gratitude, and self-respect come together, they create a calm strength within you. You become content, unshaken, and peaceful. You stop searching for happiness outside and realize it was inside you all along. You enjoy your days with a quiet heart and a grateful soul, knowing that you've lived, you've learned, and you've finally found peace in simply being yourself. That is the real beauty of growing older. Not just surviving life, but embracing it with grace, gratitude, and self-love.